Welcome into Three and Out right here on ESPN Radio. That's right. I'm still here. You can't move me out. I'm too low.
Guess what? There's still three of us here, too.
Guess what? Your mic's not on yet. You want to try it again?
I did see that.
Yeah, here we go.
I still think it's not on.
Nope. Here we go.
There.
Hey, PJ.
Hey, man.
Yeah. It's
I said,
Friday.
guess
Yep.
what? There's still three of us, too.
Yep.
Well,
And,
listen. We care about you, buddy. But joined by Ben Troop, because this is Three and Out. Kevin Thomas will be joining us shortly. He's taking care of grown-up stuff, and the kids are kind of running the castle right now.
Mhm.
So that's always exciting.
what up?
There's a lot of news to get into, and I'm sure Kevin and Ben will get into it at some point.
We got 3 hours of the show. We definitely
we're-
gonna get
well,
into
not
it.
quite, right? Because
That's not why we're here.
not quite, because the Braves play a little bit earlier tonight, so you guys got like 2.5 hours for the show. But
Okay.
and we're eating up a lot of it right here.
Just
I am
chop
not
it
going
right
to
in.
spend my time here with Ben Troop
Thank you.
on the
Thank
show.
You. Thank you.
talking about current events.
Thank you.
No, get out of here.
We do it all week.
This is a special event, so we want to make it a special time. We're not just going to talk about all the normal stuff. It's not what we're here for.
No, and PJ on a different mic, so apparently I'm having to jack him through the roof.
Dude, yeah,
Listen.
I don't know what's going on with the levels. But
Kevin, are we good now? All right, Kevin's still here, so
if
okay.
you're driving, if
we're
you're
good.
listening in your car or whatever, like, give me a thumbs up if you can hear me.
Please don't. 2 hands on the wheel
All right, I
at all
appreciate that.
times.
Thank you. Thank you for that.
We got called the next
But
Hey.
that being said, well, listen, we're handling this one step at a time. We're in the same room as a guy who has played a lot of football in his life, and he's played the sport that a lot of people listening right now, the only reason they listen to this is because they want to hear about that sport. And so we can talk about the peripheral stuff, and we can prognosticate about what's going to happen coming up in 2022. But my favorite thing, and I don't know if you have noticed this like the last couple of years, PJ. I know Ben has, because he's been on a lot of them and he consumes a lot of them. Athletes have started their own podcast.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, a
Like
ton
one of the
of them.
best one out
Yeah.
there is Brandon Marshall's podcast.
Yes.
That he does.
I am
does an
yeah.
outstanding job with that.
Yeah.
Draymond Green just started his own podcast during the middle
I
of the
like
NBA.
it.
Yeah.
It took him too long, but I like it.
During the NBA finals, and he was like, "Yeah, I can get benched in the fourth quarter during a crucial game, and I'm going to come on an hour after the game and do my podcast and,
Yeah.
and tell you how I really feel." So we have Ben Troop here. So as we were talking about the lead up to a football season, we're prognosticating, but I think it's so much more interesting to hear your stories about like what the buildup is to a football season, whether that's the college or the pros.
Mhm.
So while Kevin's taking care of important things, that's what I want to do. And I want to start in college because as I walked in here today, Ben, I have air conditioning in my car, but I was still like drenched in sweat
Mhm.
just walking from my car to the back door of our office to get in here. Meanwhile, there's football players who are having to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, go out there, hit each other, run, hit each other some more, then go lift, eat, hit each other some more. And that's what they're doing for a living.
Yeah.
So I'm just curious what like right now is like in the life of a college football player.
It really depends. Like, and I say that respectfully. When you're a freshman and you're trying to figure your life is, how do I know what the hell I'm doing once practice starts? Because coach is gonna be, what are you doing? Your name becomes, what are you doing? Are you serious? I mean, what have you been doing all day? Now,
Give me another one.
when you are a Stetson Bennett, right? You coming off a national championship. Your thing is, listen, Kirby gives them that, Stetson, yeah, don't mess this up. He can't say don't mess this up, like literally. He gives them a look. Like, every time I go into a press conference, I have to explain why you are the guy. We know why you're the guy, but those other guys got 5 stars next to him. But Stetson give him that, I got you. So, to answer your question, Christian, it's nerve-wracking. And this is a real football player's mentality. You got to ask yourself, why am I doing this?
True.
If you don't ask yourself, why are you doing this? The greatest thing ever given to a football player during tour days is a cold towel. All it is a towel stuck in some ice water, in some just super duper cold water. And what they do is you kneel down, they wrap it around your neck, they put it on your face, take you to breathe in. Because football people, you have to have something loose to do it. It's not basketball where it's air conditioned, right? It ain't these other sports. The first day of practice is, hey, everybody, you got on helmets and shorts, everybody go. Coach can't wear. All right. Coaches first pass. So to get it going, we just gonna do one-on-ones. Let's just get it out the way, right? And you got this long line. I don't do it because I love it, PJ and Christian. I do it because I have to do it. The love of the game is grown through your teammates. It is not the game itself. It's when your teammates looking at you to do things that individually you would quit, cheat, all kind of stuff. But it's something about being dependent upon. When a teammate depend upon you, or when a teammate goes, hey, Troop, do you ever get tired? I go, hell yeah. They go, when? Meaning, wait a minute, you're watching me? Yeah, do I watch the way you practice? I watch how you go about your business. I watch how no matter what a coach say to you, good or bad, you never say nothing back. Now, do you want to say something back? Yeah. But I also know if I say something back, that's going to give you permission to say something back. And then the coach going to say, can I trust you? Because there are private conversations that go on with certain players that people are not privy to. There are things that me and Ron Zook talked about that he never talked about to nobody else. He'll say, listen, I'm talking to you behind the scenes so you can show it on the scenes. He said, I'm the producer, you're the star actor, and all your job is to say is coach me, coach me. That's the only line you got. Now, I wanted to add to the script now, but I will say this. I was not the best player to ever come through Florida. I was the best teammate there was. You cannot mess with my teammate ability. I will put my ability to be a teammate above everybody. So, and when people say, what does that mean? Dude, look, individual goals are cool. But man, when I see a team that get to raise that, they the top team, I wanted that. And I know what it takes to do that. That means that, dude, I forget all, coach say, the great players forget all about their individual accolades. They forget all about them. Because those fade. The best receiver in the country might not get the Blitnikoff. Somebody's going to win it. So in my mind, that's what I had to learn, man. Right now, it's about saying, look, man, all right, big team, little me. And the greatest thing is this, no free rings. You want a ring, you got to earn it. There is no free ones given. Not Outback Bowl stuff. They give out free ones. But I'm talking about SC rings, got to earn it. National championship rings, got to earn it. And guess what? But one team going to do it a year. So
did Steve Spurrier wear his ring like around y'all?
Nah, man, he did. You know what's crazy? Steve Spurrier never talked about winning. That's all he did. Ron Zook always talked about win this, win that, and win this, and win that. And it's mentality, man. You once you develop a mentality of, hey, dude, before you become the best in the world, you got to believe you are. I don't care. You believe you are, then the work comes in. That way, when that heat is coming off the freaking grass, and you saying, do I want to do this? They blow that whistle, right? And when the coach say you one of them ones, right? Yeah, prove it. Because people get to come to practice sometimes. And the reason why they let people in, because everybody think they can do what you do until they see it up close. Them dudes pretty big, man. Yeah, they move real fast. But at the same time, if I'm watching a Florida Gator, a Georgia Bulldog, or a Penn State Nittany Lion, and I look over, when I get ready to want to say something to that coach, I look over, see a little kid, like, oh, let me not say nothing. Because they're going to think it's all right. And like I said, man, it's so many stuff that going through it, but what got me through it is my teammates. It was never ever about, if it was up to Benjamin, it would have got ugly out there.
So you mentioned teammates, and you know me, I always do my research.
Mm-hmm.
So you were a freshman at Florida in 2000.
Yes.
And so I was going back, doing my research on the 2000 Florida football roster.
Yes.
Number one, I learned that you had someone on your team named Robert Roberts.
Yes.
Oh, that's solid.
Yep.
Fullback Robert Roberts out of Dade County. He went by Rob, but yes, so you have
Rob Roberts.
You have Rob Roberts. Also, I'm going through and looking at some guys, and I see some freshmen as I'm looking through. I see Benny Mills.
Yes, Benny Mills from Louisiana.
I see Dwayne DeBose.
Yeah.
I see Shannon Snell.
And his brother Ray Snell.
And I see Max Stark.
The old roommate.
And I see Ben Troop.
Yes.
And Reggie Vickers.
Yes.
And Daryl Lee.
Yes.
What do all of these, Bobby Williams, Kenny Parker, Ian Scott, what do all of these men have in common outside of being freshmen?
What do all these men have outside of being freshmen?
Yes.
Some trivia.
We all got bald heads.
Bald as hell.
Hey, listen, and I will tell you this. That is a funny story, by the way. So that is the day before. Oh my God. Listen, my thing is looking fresh. Oh my God. I will say
fresh.
I will say this.
Man,
this is what they did. Yeah. That's the day before.
Not only that,
that's the day before.
I haven't seen Troop without facial hair in forever.
That's the day before. That's the day before freshman. So what
all of them next. That's how you know he played on the line.
We're sitting there at our freshman dorms, right? Kicking it, and all of a sudden the cavalry pulls up because we ain't got cars. But don't a lot of upperclassmen, and all you hear is, "Hey, freshmen, we need y'all." And listen, they just cutting our hair right there. What they did, they messed your hair up so much that we got to cut it all bald.
Yeah.
They put a little design. They'll say either keep the design of your hair
Or
or cut it off.
or
So
shave
we shave it off. But that's about team camaraderie, man. It really, really is. You might want to check Travis Harris. He was a part of. He had dread. He had braids. They cut his eyebrows off.
What
Let me tell
position
y'all-
did he play?
He played linebacker. He's from Atlanta. He went to Southwest DeKalb. Let me tell y'all something, people.
What number did he wear? Can you remember off the top of his
He
head?
wore number 27.
All right, that helps me.
Let me tell you something. I don't care what facial hair you
He
have.
does not have a picture.
Oh, okay, okay. Listen, we used to, but if I'm gonna find it, I will tell y'all this. PJ, Christian, y'all, you guys are a part of the Great Hair Squad. That little hair over your eyes, let me tell you, that makes your whole face. No. They cut your eyebrows off, and if you ever want to get to what the hell is going on face all day,
yeah.
just listen. And
Just
guess
don't
what else
have
eyebrows
eyebrows.
do? Eyebrows is the only thing keeping sweat out your eyes. So just
Yeah.
imagine if it's not there, and you can't wear a headband. Boy, I'm trying to tell you,
Well,
man.
I'm talking
that
about-
look-
We
hey.
want to talk about hair and teammates and whatever, and just what was it, like a year or two ago? This has nothing to do with football, so sorry. But like a year or two ago, I was living in a house with some friends, whatever. They did that whole like video thing where you fake cutting off someone's hair behind them and whatever.
Oh, yeah, with the clip.
Yeah, I'm sitting there, not even joking. I'm eating some Chinese food on the couch, whatever, and I hear bzzz, and like, dude, I look back, I almost moved out. Like, I swear to
Yeah.
God, I was like, I looked out, I was like, I gave him the desk there. I was like, I'm gonna pack my things. They all started laughing. I was
And
like,
this
okay,
is not
all
even
right.
PJ. This is not
Like,
even
I'm
like
done. No,
This
no,
not
no.
even make
You
a
don't do
Braves
that.
team reference. I am late to the party with Dansby Swanson's hair. Like I didn't know. No.
Have you watched the Braves?
Listen, I did not know. Yesterday, I'm sitting there going, people go, and now we rise for Dansby Swanson hair. And people are going, I go, what in the, is somewhere Bryce Harper saying, I don't like that dude.
Listen,
I don't like him. I don't like him because, listen, I don't like him because he's an Atlanta native and he's going to get paid in the offseason. And I also don't like him because he's part of, I mean, he's all MLB first team hair club.
I don't blame him though for not really realizing it at first, because in the beginning of the season he was striking out so fast you couldn't really see him.
Okay,
on
well
the TV.
now he's the best shortstop in baseball, so both of y'all can calm the hell down.
I love Dansby.
Number one, Kawan Ratliff and
T1.
excuse me, and OJ Small.
Oh yeah, he got OJ got like shoulder
Please
pads
tell
on
me,
his
was
head.
he like an offensive lineman?
no,
or
no,
something?
OJ Small is a receiver. He got his head is shaped like a
Was he
octagon.
super tall?
Yeah, I was about to say, but
I
both
hope
of
he
those
was super
men,
tall.
I hope that they continue to grow hair because they do not have the heads
Oh
for
yeah.
being
For shaved
bald.
heads.
But also, I want to do some trivia with PJ real quick.
Oh no.
There's 3 quarterbacks listed on the roster for Florida in 2000.
In 2000,
How many can you name?
I don't know any of them.
How many can you name?
0.
0. Context clues. Come on.
In early 2000.
No, it's not
No, it's not early. It's the earliest.
It's the 2000.
earliest.
So I'm guessing what they won in the national championship 2005. So I'm guessing like
This is pre-Chris
This is-
League.
this
so
is
like
pre-Chris
Chris
Leak.
Leak isn't even on there.
No,
Yeah, no.
I will give you a hint.
You know, hold
I
on,
will give
hold
you a
on.
hint of one. I'll give you a hint of one.
That
He's the
that was like
only
90s.
Florida quarterback to go to a Super Bowl.
Yeah,
and start.
one of them's nickname is Sexy. One of them is a very prominent host on ESPN, and then the
Oh,
other
okay.
one has the most like creative quarterback name ever, but did not finish at Florida.
So one of them's Jesse Palmer, right?
Yes, look
Yeah.
at PJ.
Did not know Jesse Palmer was from Canada.
Yes, and Jesse Palmer did what? Jesse Palmer had 5 rushing touchdowns against Kentucky. 5.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
Also
we were-
hosted Ben on his visit in jean shorts.
Yes,
But
yes.
come on,
How about that?
who is Sexy?
I don't know.
When we
that
say
one.
it, you're gonna say, "Oh no."
Well, no, this is the thing. I know of a name, but I'm pretty sure he played in like the 90s. So
Wait,
I
who?
We'll
think
just throw it out there.
Danny Werfel.
No.
Yeah, that
it
was-
this
that was
guy-
Sexy Danny Werfel.
No, I'm not talking about that specific guy, but like that was like 90s, right? He played in the 90s.
Yes, he did.
Or am I super wrong?
Yeah, he's the one
Okay.
who won the national championship.
Thank
Yes,
you.
he won
All
the
right.
first
I
one,
thought I
yes.
was like, if y'all said like 70s, I was like,
He's
oh,
the
God,
one that
I'm
Steve
the
Spurrier
worst.
said was the perfect quarterback.
Okay.
Which I can definitely agree with that. The
You
way he
agree
played.
with that?
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, as far the best quarterback to me to ever come through Florida is Danny Werfel. Like the best.
I need to catch up on my Werfel tape. That's my
Yeah,
fault.
Danny Werfel's that guy. Other two, you have Rex Grossman.
Sexy Rex.
Oh my
I
God!
told
Of
you.
course.
Sexy Rex.
And then the
See
other
you
one did
again.
not finish his career at Florida. Brock Berlin.
Brock Berlin was the #1 recruit
Yeah, I
in the
don't know.
country coming. He's from Louisiana.
Give us a story on Brock Berlin
not
because
gonna
y'all
lie,
were
I've
both
never heard of
freshmen
that
together.
guy.
Brock Berlin came in. I mean, obviously he had the bleach hair. You know, he was trying to do
Always
the
talking about
California.
Rex Grossman.
He was trying to do the California type stuff. But this is the thing about Brock. Brock said he knew he was never going to play when he saw Rex throw in practice. He goes, "I'm not going to play here." What he end up at? Miami. So he ended up transferring to Miami, and he's best known. Now they beat us. He threw a backwards pass and didn't run after it. He got decleated by Darrell Lee, class 2000, and Keywan Rattler picked up the fumble, pointed at him when he's running to the end zone. So but Brock is the homie. Though.
Who
Brock
was
is homie.
as we finish up our recap here of the 2000 Florida football team, because that's where you thought you were going to be here on this Friday, but hey, it is what it is.
Yes.
Who is the best football player on that team?
In 2000?
Yeah.
Alex Brown. It ain't even. I mean, he was coming off. Alex Brown was the best. He was the best. He was. I think he was coming off a defensive player of the
Any
year.
defensive
99.
end who wears number 13.
Yeah, but I will say
Love
this,
that.
a very close number 2, Jabbar Gaffney, first team All American. Like,
Yeah.
listen, I watched Jabbar Gaffney catch a slant, take 80 yards against South Carolina, and do the Heisman in the end zone.
Shit.
His nickname was the Reaper.
There's some great names.
Oh, it is.
You got Brian Hugabrook.
Hoggy.
What?
No, Alex. No. What
Is
do
it
you think?
Reese Caldwell?
Riche Caldwell.
Riche.
What do you think Alex Brown's middle name is?
Alex,
Think about it.
I-
What's one of the most famous singers of all, entertainers of all time?
oh, James.
His middle name is James.
Yeah.
Alex James Brown.
Yes.
Yes.
You
My
have-
mom used to get all this info when she was up
One
in
of the
States.
best safety names ever, and a man whose neck is as thick as his head, Lester Norwood.
Listen. And guess who Lester Norwood's brother is?
Jarius?
Huh?
Jarius?
Jarius.
Norwood?
No.
Oh,
Jarek McKinnon.
Jarek McKinnon.
And guess
Really?
what? In 2002, our junior year, me, Lester, are taking a picture with little Jarek, and he would come back and beat them Florida Gators when he went to Georgia Southern. His brother went
Dang.
to
But just the name,
man,
Vanez
that's true.
Gooch.
Vernez Gooch. Yeah.
Is it Vernez? It's spelled Vannez.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Vernell Brown wasn't on there. Ian Scott, Shannon Snell's brother, Ray Snell. They used to call
You
him
had a
Booty Ray.
Cromartie on there.
Who?
Robert Cromartie.
Robert Cromartie. Yep, from Atlanta. Robert
Okay.
Cromartie.
Benny
Yep.
Alexander.
Benny Alexander, man. We had Alex Willis. We had
I'm just going for like names.
we had Taylor
Matt
Jacobs.
Ferrier.
Wow.
Hey, listen, and guess what? You know who his brother is, right?
Who's that?
That would be
Yeah,
James
James Ferrier.
Ferrier.
Yeah.
But he did not get the jeans, though. Not
Nah.
in linebacker.
Yeah, no.
He did.
Come
but he
on.
didn't.
Right.
I love Matt.
He didn't get those genes. I
They
mean,
look, listen,
James
he looks
Ferrier's-
like, basically, Matt Ferrier looks like James with hair. That's
Yeah.
all it is.
I mean, James Ferrier's way. It's hard to compare. Like he's one of
Shannon
the-
Snell. That's a great
Yeah,
SEC football name.
Listen, and
he's one of the
Max Starks
great
won. Listen,
linebackers in Pittsburgh
the
history.
two most recent Super Bowls won by Pittsburgh. He was your left tackle.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, no, I love some Max Starks. I love me from some Max Starks. You better believe
Thaddeus
that.
Bullard. I mean, that's
Listen,
just
Hold on, and guess who? And
He's
who
a
was Thaddeus
staple.
Bullock in real life? That would be Titus O'Neil.
Yep.
My goodness.
We
Yeah.
got Titus O, and he was most known for what he did. He threw a concert in the O-Dome for Snoop Dogg. Snoop had on his jersey. You know. Yes.
Can I ask you a
That's
question
fantastic.
before we get out of here?
Yeah.
Who the hell is Clint Mitchell?
Oh my God, Clint Mitchell was a pretty good defensive end for us, man.
Clint Mitchell looks like he is 60 years old.
Oh yeah,
no.
Clint took
As a
like,
freshman?
Listen.
No, he's a junior at
Oh,
this
okay.
point.
I will say
Oh,
this.
Gosh.
Clint Mitchell, Christian.
Clint
is
Mitchell's
a
about to
poor-
line up your retirement.
as
fund.
far as motor goes, he's a poor man's David Powell.
He's-
He's gonna give you everything. He got
6'7", 253, baby.
everything, every single play.
Hey, 7th round pick of Cody Queen's Denver Broncos.
There you go. I want to circle back real quick and say, like, with all due respect, I'm sorry I missed that. With all due respect to Rex Grossman's Florida career, because I know I've heard
Yeah.
a lot of good things.
Who did you call sexy Danny Werfel?
The only thing I remember about that Chicago Bears Super Bowl run is Devin Hester. Like,
Miami.
Fair. Before we get out of here and we wrap up our conversation on the 2000 Florida football team, I'm gonna add Ian Scott to the list of people who should not be bald.
Oh yeah, Ian shouldn't be. Yeah. And Ian's dad, he looks just like his dad, except Ian's light skin, his dad is dark skin. So you know, like when they standing next to each other, it was, and Ian is from where? Gainesville. Like so, Ian spent his whole life in
Ian
Gainesville.
didn't have a
till he got
choice. Ian has spent his entire life sweaty.
And yes, and listen, and at the end of the day, I think Carlos Perez was his roommate when we were freshmen. He told Carlos, "Ain't gonna be no girls up in this room." I said, Carlos, like, what? Ain't gonna be no girls up in here. Ain't gonna be no loud music up in here.
Focus on
And he
football
said,
and
"How old are
studies.
you?" He said, "I'm 18 years old." Check this out. And when we got to school, you know what Carlos said? Carlos said, "Well, I'm 20." Carlos is the first Dominican I've ever met in my life. I said, "Man, you from?" He said, "I'm Dominican." I said, "Yeah, man."
Him
I didn't know what that
and,
meant. Didn't know what that meant.
Him and Reggie Nelson,
Yep. Listen,
32-year-old freshman.
hey, look, you should be
all I'm
good.
saying, that other dude you showed, like, he comes to the cookout and he's ready to ask you about your 401k.
Clint Mitchell,
Like,
baby.
how's it going?
I gotta find out what Clint Mitchell's is up to. We're gonna do that during the break.
You sure you don't
Well,
want to sell this place?
well-
Because I can actually set up a pretty good deal. I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure I can find a good deal.
Clint
for
Mitchell is
you.
actually the 43rd Vice President of the United States. We got more to come here. This is 3 and Out on ESPN Radio.
Good to have you here on this Friday. I've been all over the place, Ben. So we're doing 3 and out is basically what I'm. They said sit down and start talking. You're doing 3 and out now, and I said, oh, okay. But obviously, the college football world turned on its head, to say the least. At the end of the day, Ben, college football is going to keep changing. Is it the death of college football? I don't know. It's like I think it's the death of what we used to know of college football, and it could even be the death of what made college football special. That might be a different argument. Is it the death of the nostalgia for certain programs? It very well could be, depending on how this thing plays out at the end of the day, Ben. So we'll talk about that. I'm going to get AC's thoughts here real quick. He wants to talk college football here on a Friday. AC, what you got?
Good afternoon. Thank you so much for taking my call Friday.
What you got?
Absolutely. Well, Texas and Oklahoma, they're in SEC, but they're about to join SEC. You have USC and UCLA, they're going to join Big Ten. Which team or teams you think will be next on the move to join on those top 5 conference? What about Notre Dame? They should be end up in Big 12. I mean, Notre Dame is in and out. 1 foot in, 1 foot out from ACC. I mean, they're going to find a conference or else they're not going to be relevant to college football community. Thank you so much for taking my call. Enjoy your 3-day weekend. I'll see you next week.
Hey, we appreciate it. Yeah, we were getting ready for the weekend, but yeah, I think the linchpin is Notre Dame for a lot of people involved.
Yes.
Ben, because let me tell you, when that went out officially, it's like, and it was more than just a, hey, I'm hearing Southern Cal and UCLA are going to the Big Ten, and then it became, oh no, they're going. That sound you heard was panic all across college football. Because at that point, as I said, it's musical chairs. Nobody wants to be left without a seat. And all of a sudden, Oregon and Washington are becoming best friends. Somebody said, what about Oregon State? What about Oregon State? You know, and so what's going to happen? I think the ACC is in a very similar situation. I said this earlier, Ben, off the show. I'll say it now. I think the ACC is about 2 phone calls away from being in big-time trouble. One would be if Notre Dame decides they want out.
Yep.
Again, they're 1 foot in, 1 foot out. And make no mistake, Jack Swarbrick, who is the AD of Notre Dame, has probably just had about 6 more phone lines put into his office.
Yep.
Because that thing is burning up from conference commissioners, from presidents of other schools, probably in the ACC saying, come on, man, you know you don't want to do this. From Big Ten schools saying, hey, man, you know you want to do this. Remember how you thought you might not get to play Southern Cal every year? You might not get to play Michigan every year? Come on over. We got the cash. Look, I've seen statements put out. Washington. We were very surprised and disappointed that Southern Cal and UCLA would choose to go elsewhere. Blah, 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 blah. And at no point did they say in their statement, but we're committed to the Pac-12. See tweets today. Oregon, Washington have been told by the Big Ten. This is from Dennis Dodd, CBS Sports. Oregon and Washington have been told that the Big Ten is on hold until they hear from Notre Dame. They want the Irish. They want the fan base. They want the clout. They want the cash. And if that happens, the ACC's in big trouble. Also heard, Ben, in that same breath, the Pac-12 has put out a statement saying that they are exploring all expansion opportunities. You think? you think at this point you might be exploring all expansion opportunities? And had a couple of folks say that the Pac-12 had their call after USC and UCLA dipped, basically to say who's in and who's out. And everybody's in. And the best tweet, and everybody knows this, everybody's in till the phone rings.
Come on.
Right? And so
And
people...
Kevin, you said you was talking about this yesterday too. Everybody thinks they're a big brand, right? People go, how do you know if you're a big brand, right? Has a big brand called your phone? Because big brands want to partner. And make no mistake about this is a partnership. And now, think about this. Greg Sankey is the man. You know who's right under him? Kevin Warren. Why? Because they're making moves. It's almost like it's not so much that you make a move, it's when you decide. Hey man, you got to pull the trigger at a certain point. You know, and I mean that in the figurative sense, not like the literal sense of Kevin Warren is saying the Big Ten is saying we are not going away. Big 12, look, they've been pulling people from y'all. The SEC been got two. Now they finna get the cash cows. What are y'all gonna do? Oklahoma State is saying, please, somebody. And you kind of want them to call you though. Like Oklahoma State, they want to make some calls, but they don't want to get that. Coach, look, we'll let y'all know. Now, Kevin, now this becomes all right. I think Pac-12, they got a shot to be salvaged. I think the Big 12 is done because the thing is, every team got to have every conference got to have a big name team. Who was your Oklahoma State is your biggest team right now? All right, cool.
Baylor, maybe.
Baylor. Listen. Until think about you want to talk about a lineup. Just say the SEC goes out and say we want Oklahoma State, we want Baylor, right? SEC Network already got a bunch of guys and gals working for them. What if all of a sudden you turn it on, boom, there go RG3 because you got Baylor. There go Vince Young because you got Texas. Because what they're really doing right now is, Kevin, listen, this is the AFC NFC. If this is the NFL pipeline, let's just call it what it is. One part of the country dominates college football. One part of the country dominates the eyes. One part of the country can only win the national championships. So when people go, Lincoln Riley is the smartest man in college football because he made a lateral move knowing I'm not doing this for the Pac-12. Think about the Pac-12 lost Coach Heldon. He's in the South. He's in Georgia Southern. So you get a guy like, because people say, well, why would he do that at USC? Because he recruited all those years in Oklahoma. And now, because we get to play in the Big Ten, I can go back in that state and pull those kids to California. I just think that I don't think the seismic shift in college football was conference realignment. NIL, everybody don't benefit. What does the seismic shift been? Everybody feels it. Everybody don't feel NIL. Everybody don't feel transfer portal. Everybody's not feeling that.
Most people feel transfer portal, I think, but
it
seems like there's. It seems like it anyway.
If you got a transfer portal, specialists on your staff that say we don't recruit, we go to that portal. Hello, hey, we need you to come over here. But I will say this, Kevin. This is the thing. Once again, if two people calling your phone right now, that is a Kevin Warren, that is a Greg Sankey. Hello, Dabo. Who is this? Greg Sankey. Yeah, man. You know what this is about. I don't got to go all into it because the two conference that I think is not going to survive. I don't think the ACC is going to survive. They haven't started pulling them yet.
Well, I mean, and here's where we got to take a break. Let me take a break, and I'll tell you where there is an opportunity. Right, a small one, but there's an opportunity. We'll come back. It's 3 and Out, Southern Pigskin Radio Network. Good to have you along here, 3 and Out on this Friday. Kevin Thomas, Ben Troop, glad you are with us. ESPNCoastal.com and on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. And Ben, I think you look at the ever-changing landscape of college athletics. USC, UCLA going to the Big Ten. Sources out there saying, Dennis Dodd saying the Big Ten is on pause, awaiting Notre Dame. And they are the key to a lot of this. Because people say, well, Notre Dame to the Big Ten, it makes a lot of sense. It makes even more sense when you dig a little deeper. Notre Dame playing in the ACC, right? They have to play 5 conference games a year, even though they're not a full committed member of the ACC in football. You know, you lose some of your rivalry games. You want to play Navy. You want to play, I don't know if they play Air Force every year, but you play Boston College. You want to play. You go to the Big Ten, you get Notre Dame, USC back. You get Notre Dame, Michigan back. You get Notre Dame, Michigan State on a regular basis.
Notre Dame, Ohio
you get Notre
State.
Dame,
Wow.
Notre Dame, and Purdue can be a regular
Notre Dame,
thing. So
Wisconsin, Notre Dame,
I'm saying, but those are
Yeah.
Purdue, Southern Cal, Michigan. Those are ones
they
that
don't have to move. They don't have to move around that much. as
right.
far as,
Those
like,
are ones.
location.
Those are ones that you have
Yes.
traditional long rivalries
Yes.
with in college football. That's why it makes a lot of sense. If I'm the ACC, and you talked about the poaching, as of right now, with the 2 Southern Cal teams going, Southern Cal and UCLA, the Big Ten will have 16. The SEC will have 16 when Oklahoma and Texas get there. So if you're the ACC, to me, it lies on keeping Notre Dame in the fold. Because once Notre Dame goes somewhere else, Ben, you're going to have a 17-team conference? Of course not. You're going even more. Now, people forget, I believe, Ben, and you said you thought I was correct on this. The ACC was the first conference to 14 of the power. So you remember when they went into the Big East, SEC was already at 12, Big Ten was at 12, and everybody's saying, well, what are they going to do to step up? Or Big Ten was at 10, but looking at expansion, the ACC just jumped right ahead and went to 14, and everybody goes, whoa, 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 whoa. You went from 10 to 14? What are we doing? And a lot of people thought, oh, it's never going to be enough to go around. That's what you're hearing not 20 teams, not going to be enough money to make it work. Short term, potentially. But I think the Notre Dame domino, if it falls, is going to be so huge. And if they leave the ACC, I could see the ACC being in big trouble. Because the SEC is not going to sit back and say, I mean, we all know this. What Greg Sankey says today may not be what he's thinking tomorrow. Oh, there's not a team out there that could bring in that much revenue. Notre Dame just went to the Big Ten. Oh, that Clemson invite is looking a little better. Right? And so the easiest thing for the SEC to do is to go poach the ACC and take some of those schools. The Big Ten, depending on where you want to stretch your brand to, they could go into some ACC areas and take some schools. If you're the ACC, do you get proactive again and try to go to 20? If you get Notre Dame. So I know people go, well, why would you add that many teams? The more teams you got, the more potential relevancy you have, the more solvent you are, right? The Pac-12 lost 2 teams and people are sending the death knell to that conference. Why? Because people are saying, well, we can just bring in Boise State and no. You got to have to. So if you're the ACC, and I said this, what does geography mean? We've seen this, right? The Atlanta Braves used to play in the National League West. It doesn't matter. The Big Ten has 14 teams.
Yes.
The Atlantic Coast Conference can have teams that aren't on the Atlantic Coast.
Yes.
Or you just say, we're no longer the Atlantic Coast Conference. We're just the ACC. Well, what does that stand for? It stands for ACC. So I think, what do you do? If you look for commonality, again, is it anybody that's going to move the needle? I don't know. I think Stanford academically would be a fit. Can't bring them by themselves. You might have to throw in somebody to do it. I think West Virginia would be one that you take from the Big 12. Oklahoma State gives you more of an SEC type of school.
Oklahoma State has.
Not necessarily, I'm talking about, but a bigger fan base, bigger stadiums, more involvement, things of that nature. And you can kind of bridge that gap all the way out there to say, because people are like, well, what about regionality? if you
That's
think,
up and down
no, I'm
the
saying,
map.
no, I'm saying, Ben, but if you think that still matters, like we just had 2 teams from the West Coast join a conference where there's literally a team on the East Coast. We have these things called planes.
Yes,
They're not flying
they-
commercial.
Yeah. I mean, the longest flight. I mean,
it's a long flight. I'm not getting you wrong, but it's like
Well,
the team will charter a plane. You will fly there, play the game, and fly back.
Hold on. Last time I checked, Missouri is nowhere near the South or the East. It's in the SEC. Kevin, this is about strategy, right? And I think what happens is it's like one big domino. Okay, SEC will go Texas, Oklahoma. All right, Big Ten will go. We got to get them. We got to. All right, USC, UCLA going to the Big Ten. These are the ones that everybody's going. Notre Dame is the one that everybody.
Sure.
It's going to be the next big one to fall. Then Kevin, you mentioned a West Virginia. You mentioned a Oklahoma State. You mentioned a Cal and maybe a Stanford package deal. Because now this is about staying relevant. This is about the dollars. This is about greed. This is about
sure.
Because for the last, I don't know, 10 years, a whole region of the country didn't matter. Like Lindale White, back up to Reggie Bush when they was going back to back national championships. He's going back and forth with somebody on Twitter talking about his accomplishments. And I said, Lindale, what are you doing? But the guy did say this. You guys haven't been relevant since you guys left. And that is true, right? That is true. Since Miami has come into the ACC, outside of being a big brand, they haven't boosted the reputation of the ACC because they haven't lived up to the billing. They've gone to one ACC championship game. I mean, they went to a bowl game like in the last 3 years and didn't score. They scored 3 points. So I just know that, when you start talking about who you want to pair yourself with, whoever get Notre Dame, you are in the driver's seat because of what they bring. I don't think any other brand by itself can bring that type of return on investment, those type of eyeballs like Notre Dame. They are their own thing. I think Big Ten probably got the best shot because of Notre Dame says, look, dude, I'd rather go to a conference where I got a good shot of actually winning the conference. Because if I go over to the SEC,
I honestly think winning now is a byproduct. It's all about give me the money.
I'm gonna tell you what it always has been. It always has been, right? Parity in college football started, maybe like late 80s, early, because you got different teams winning it, like literally every other year. You got now a certain region of the country. Somebody says this. Why is that? Because who focuses more on it? The focus on college football in the Southeast. Think about it. You got 7-on-7 tournaments. You got Elite 11 tournaments. You got all these different things catered to what? Good weather. I can be outside. I don't have to worry about up north. We don't got to deal with the snow. We do it. Lane Kiffin said the best. When he went to Tennessee, he said, dude, when I came from SC, it ain't like this. What you mean? Dude, like, it kind of dies down some a little bit. Tennessee is like, no, bro, this is it. That's with the Titans in this state. So I do think that what we're talking about here is, yes, I want to align myself. The ACC, if they don't get Notre Dame, they're going to be saying, all right, dude.
Because the next phone call is Clemson's going to come out or something like that.
What happens, it's like
or North Carolina.
Okay, it's like this. I want to get, listen, Joe Buck, Troy Aikman tied to the hip. They're going to leave. Who they go at first? Troy. Why? Because Troy going to call Joe. Hey, Joe, look, man, they're going to come and get you too. I told him I'm not going without you. But you already signed it. I know you coming, man. Where they go? Gone. Al Michaels and them been up, gone. Because everybody has a price. Every single person does. I just think now, Kevin, this is going to come down to, hey, man, to those schools out there that didn't make football a priority, even though you was making money with it, you might find yourself saying bye-bye to the freaking P5. That's what people ain't saying. No, you listen. And if you stay in the P5.
Well, I mean, it's true. Well, I mean, look, I here's the thing. I think what people are talking about is, and we'll get into this later, is you're heading towards a P2. And people say, and we got to take a break. We're going to run out of time, and I'm going to have 4 seconds on the flip side. We'll come back. We could talk about this a long time. We're going to. It's 3 and Out on this Friday afternoon all across the Southern Pigskin Radio Network. Good to have you along here on 3 and Out. So much college football to get to as USC and UCLA shake up the college football world. You have Notre Dame, the big nugget, hanging around out there. Everybody waiting to see what in the world's happening with Notre Dame. And if they go to the Big Ten, it's on. Again, because the Big Ten's not going to stay at 17.
No.
And Dennis Dodd said that Oregon and Washington were informed by the Big Ten that they're not doing anything until they hear from Notre Dame, until Notre Dame makes up their mind. So that already tells you Oregon and Washington are flirting. Hey, Pac-12, hey, we all good? We're in. Well, I mean, we were in until, Kevin Warren called. Now we're out. I mean, that's right. The funniest thing is they all came together to form the alliance. And like a lot of things, the alliance held together not so much when better opportunities came out there. And you're talking about loads more money. You're talking about $100 million payouts. I think you said the Pac-12 from the COVID year, so it might have been a little skewed, was like less than 20 million. The COVID year SEC was paying out close to 50. It's hard to compete like that at the end of the day. We got to go. I'll hold that thought. We'll get you on the flip side, Ben. I promise. It's 3 and Out on the Southern Pigskin Radio Network, broadcasting live, ESPNCoastal.com, and on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Welcome back. Hour 2, 3 and Out on this Friday. Kevin Thomas, Ben Troop. Thanks for being with us. Also, thanks for being with us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. You can watch us on YouTube at ESPN Coastal. They're our channel on YouTube, and leave us a comment. Hit us up on Twitter as well at Pigskin Radio. Just so much happening, Ben, in the world of college football in general. We'll continue talking about that as we take 3 here on 3 and Out. All right, Ben. We talked about this some. When you talk about programs in college football, if it does go to a Big 2, obviously there's going to be teams on the outside. Who's a program that when you hear their name, you think big time, but might be on the outside looking in when all this potentially settles?
Wow. Man. I think, Kevin, I mean, when you think about, I think it's going to be a lot of big names, man. And, oh, my God.
There could be quite a few of them.
It's quite a few of them. I think a Baylor might be on the outside looking in. Because what's going to happen is, Kevin, you got your top tiers, you got your ones you want first, and then all of a sudden, okay, listen, you want to be, hey man, I want to be those first 6, teams they calling. Because there's so many teams in Texas, Baylor might find themselves on the outside. Listen, it's a great program, but might find themselves on the outside looking in. I mean, teams like, and I know this is crazy, teams like Fresno State,
That's not crazy.
They're gonna find themselves on. I'm gonna tell you a crazy one. Cal might find themselves in a very, 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 very peculiar situation because Stanford they going at Stanford. Stanford got your academic, what I'm saying. They've been good as recently. Another team though that people ain't talking about that might be on the outside looking in. That other team in Oregon State, they should be worried because what you notice, Kevin, they got UCLA and USC package. You notice,
Oregon and Washington are talking to each other.
Yeah, Oregon and Washington, like, listen, man, I don't think Washington State can help us. Hey, can we? And I think what happens is sometimes brands are big brands. Like brands are really, really big brands. And I think like if you're in the Big Ten, you're safe, right? Now we start talking about these Big 12 teams that's left, and it could get ugly for some of them because think about it, Kevin. Texas A&M gone already. Missouri jumped on them. Hey man, I'm going to the SEC. I'm gone. Oklahoma and Texas coming over, right? It's going to be some teams out there that's going to find themselves on the outside looking into this thing. I do think that it's probably going to end up being the ACC. I mean, I'm sorry, the AFC and the NFC college version.
Yeah.
This is the thing, Kevin. If you are in the ACC and you are, quote, bottom feeders, well, I'm not talking about Clemson. I'm not talking about North Carolina. I'm not talking about Virginia Tech. I'm not talking about Miami. I'm not talking about Florida State. I'm not even talking about Georgia Tech because Georgia Tech going to get in either way because of location. Somebody going to snatch them, either SEC or Big Ten. If you are North Carolina State.
I think that's the one I was going to pick.
Because what happens is, right, when you say certain stuff, you start saying, look, but North Carolina State, man, really, really good football. Yeah, dude. This is the thing. North Carolina State, Wake Forest, right? Yeah. Pitt.
Well, no, here's the thing. Yeah, here's the thing. But you say North Carolina State, but if you're the SEC or the Big Ten and you come in and take North Carolina, I don't need NC State. Yeah, so I think that's the intrigue. NC State was going to be mine. I think Boston College would be another one that people think like has a lot of.
It's going to be a bunch of those. Listen, ACC schools, Big 12 schools, that's good, but not really boosting the reputation of the conference. And if you're not in a designated like location, like premier location, like a Georgia Tech, it could be lights out, man, when this thing is all said.
Well, again, I don't think it means that you're going into you just don't ever exist. I think the Pac-12, the ACC could exist. It's just going to be in a situation where you're not in the big league, basically, right? I mean, that's just basically what it's going to be. You're just going to be like, there's going to be the P2 and the G everybody else.
Yep, pretty much.
And you're just out there, out there playing. And again, people say, well, what difference does that make? I still believe, and a lot of people believe that there's a separation coming at some point away from the NCAA, at least for football. And if that happens, then, everybody else who's not a part of that is definitely deemed into irrelevancy. All right, Ben, moving along, take 2. Outside of Notre Dame, who's the one school that's in the best position not to be left without a seat at the table? Just the one. And there's quite a few that you could throw out there. Who's the best? Who's in the best position right now?
You said to get
outside of Notre Dame. Yeah, if you're not outside of Notre Dame, who's that school that you're like, they don't even have to sweat it? They're in the best position.
Oklahoma State.
I don't know about that.
I'm gonna tell you this is the thing, Kevin. I know you probably gonna say Stanford, but this is why I say Oklahoma State. This is the thing, right? Oklahoma State is a huge brand, huge. Oklahoma State, I guarantee you, was supposed to be a part of that. The Texas A&M Oklahoma State. It was supposed to be Missouri. It was supposed to be Oklahoma State. I still think that state, that brand is in a huge position. But if I ain't even gonna say Stanford. If I had a close second, and I know this is correct because of region, I would say West Virginia. I think somebody's gonna get a West Virginia school because Kevin, now what the Big Ten just did is made it. Missouri really made that with the SEC. Excuse me, but now you're saying, hey, dude, what region of the country can we take over? Well, you got Oklahoma. I mean, you're gonna want Oklahoma State because that is deeply enriched in the Big Ten / SEC country. But West Virginia is a part of the country that people be sleeping on. I said, dude, that's a nice bird. So for me, I would go outside Notre Dame. I would go Oklahoma State 1, maybe a West Virginia 2.
Yeah, I think the team in the best spot. And people go, oh, you're going to say Clemson? Nope. You're going to say Stanford? Nope. I think they're in the good spots. Oregon? Nope. I think Oregon's in an intriguing spot because outside of Nike and Phil Knight money, what really do you bring to the table? I'm not saying they haven't been good, but I mean, I'm just saying, if you think about this, what do you bring to the table? Team in the best spot, they will be in a position to do whatever they choose. North Carolina.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Flagship school.
Yes.
In a state that cares about football. You bring other stuff to the table.
Yes.
You have a huge fan base. You have a basketball fan base. You are good in other sports. I think North Carolina, to me, can write their ticket wherever they want to go. I think they're the best spot.
And I'm going about this all wrong again. Oklahoma State, okay, but it's Georgia Tech. This is the thing.
I don't know about that.
I'm Kevin. Listen, you look. Either you in the layover in Atlanta to get ready for your next flight, or you just flew into. No, you want the city of Atlanta because what it does is you say, look, dude.
I mean, you can make the argument the SEC already has a city of Atlanta, and they don't have a seat in it.
Yeah, it does. But
the
Kevin,
Big Ten now.
But Kevin, we're talking greed now.
Well, that's true.
You know, we listen. So basically we done ate, we full, we burping at the table, went to go boxes in our hands, looking at everybody like, what you mean?
Where's dessert?
You're gonna help me take this to my car. No, I because like I said, sometimes when it comes to branding, there's such a big misconception about. Listen, you could be a big brand, but are you a big brand that's noticeable? That's noticed nationally or regionally? Because when you start talking about the Big Ten, start talking about the SEC, they want nationally recognized brands. Carolina Blue, that's North Carolina, all day long. That's NC State. What Red or Garnet or whatever? No. UNC is gonna be somebody gonna snatch them up. Georgia Tech, somebody gonna snatch them up. Oklahoma State, somebody gonna snatch them up, and Stanford for different reasons. I mean, people say Georgia Tech is the Stanford of the South. No, the hell it's not. It's Georgia Tech. It don't need to be nothing. It's already doing what it needs to do. I think that Kevin too, though, there are gonna be some teams that are gonna be shocked, especially if you in the state of Texas, because there's so many schools.
Sure.
And you start saying, look, good brand of football. And I know it's crazy. The only thing that might help a team like Baylor is an RG3 because they could potentially snatch him and get him to work for one of these networks. I don't know, man. I just think that if your number has not been called and you are not in the Big Ten or the SEC, and I'm not talking about the Clemsons of the world, teams like that, you're going to be fine. If you're, quote, a part of the conference and not helping push the conference up, you should be very, very nervous.
Very, very much so. Well, moving along, finally, Ben, take 3. Here's we talk about conference realignment. As a college football fan, I know you kind of come at it from a player's perspective. We'll get to that in the next segment. But as a college football fan, are we going towards, and there's some people that say we've already done it, are we going towards ruining what made college football special?
No. I'm gonna tell you why. I'm going to tell you. Me and my mom was talking about this earlier today. No. Kevin, we're just changing with the time, right? Kevin, why ain't you got a flip phone anymore? Cause you've already had one. They still sell them. Those phones we used to have, they still sell them.
I think you have to be over 60 to have one.
No, you don't want to be trying to push, you don't want to be trying to push, the number 1 3 times just to get to a C to send a freaking text message. It's easier, right? It's easier. And this is the thing, right? No, this isn't ruining college football, Kevin. I remember when the SEC only had 12 teams. I played in the SEC when it only had 12. 14 is of recent. Now we're finna go to 16, right? Everything changes. College football is saying, why are we placing so much energy on all these schools? These other schools, they're going to be able to do what they do, right? It's like this. Why did it take Deion Sanders to bring attention to HBCUs? They were still, he said, they wasn't utilizing. He said, because they get the guys on campus, they don't take care of them when they get on campus. That's all I'm doing. Now, he's benefiting from social media and all this. How many players we know him now because of social media? Back in the day, you had to read the newspaper, right? There was no, so this is just moving with the time. It's not going to ruin it. You know how it's not going to ruin it? Because people saying everything's new is, that's the end. Listen, if coaches making 10 and 20 million a year ain't ruining it, no, this is just making it so that the focus is always this. Kevin, why don't we watch USC play? Because we're tired. Because it's 11 o'clock at night. So people want to be in the know. People want to be in the know. So I think that what happens is, listen, computers came, they got invented in Silicon Valley out there in San Francisco. We got them over here too. Thank God we could have invented them in the South, but we don't got to do it. Let them do it. I just think that it's not going to ruin it. It's just expanding it, right? Think about, because at the end of the day, nothing stays the same. Listen, too much money is being made. What money is coming so fast now?
Sure.
And listen, is it going to be different? Yes, but Kevin, like anything else, we'll adjust. Kevin, you've been doing radio long enough to where how it is now is not how it was when you started. And I know you appreciate now. Way back, could you do it if you came in today? Kevin, we're going back to the old way. You're going to say, why?
Yeah, no, we don't want to do that.
So all I'm saying is it's just being more efficient. And yes, there are going to be certain people that's going to get left out, right? But it's like this. At the end of the day, not to get them any free pub, McDonald's has commercials. Who don't know who McDonald's is? They want to make sure, if you trying to eat out, we want to make sure, hey man, don't McDonald's got a new McRib? That's why. So the people that did the best marketing, not even the best teams that did the best, Oklahoma State ain't winning on that. They market well. They got a coach that's crazy. That's that crazy dude with the mullet. You think he got the mullet for sure? That's all making sure. So I don't think it's going to ruin it. I just think that Kevin, once again, we're going to say, hey, man, I remember when the SEC went to 14, then 16. I remember when college football went from P5 to P2. What happened to them other 3? Well, they never really, listen, if they would have been winning national championships in this college football playoff era, then the P5 stays intact. But how many years do you got to go?
You think so? I don't know about that.
Well, this is the thing, Kevin. No, what I'm saying is,
maybe the money's more equal.
Here's the thought. If the Pac-12 is winning all the championships, right? Then you getting schools on this side of the country trying to be a part of that. No, why is California schools trying to be a part of the Big Ten? Because we want to make sure we stay relevant. People say, what is it going to take for USC to get the hell up out the Pac-12? That's what it's going to take. And you got a coach that know what that top part of the country is like because he dominated the Big 12. So it's all. Or you take a guy from Notre Dame who says, hey, man, if I'm going to leave Notre Dame, I want to be a part of a big brand. What's the big brand? LSU. And I was the only thing in town in Indiana, taking us away from University of Indiana. I'm the only thing in town in Louisiana. And I know you got the Saints. That's how.
You did disrespect Purdue as well.
I'm sorry, Bowling. But I think that, Kevin, this is just working smarter. Greg Sankey saying, look, bro, I got Texas and Oklahoma. And Texas and people, and you know what Texas, you know why you hit it? Because we said Clemson. Yeah, I like y'all. Yeah. Y'all ain't Texas, Oklahoma.
No, look, I understand why things are going the way they're going. I also understand college football is a tradition-based sport.
It is.
Where, hey, I like Tennessee because my granddad liked Tennessee and his dad I like LSU.
Kevin, I'm about to tell you what it really is. You
know,
know,
understand, and we get used to playing Alabama and all that. And I'm not saying you can't change that, but I'm just saying,
Kevin, you a baseball traditionalist guy,
right?
Why don't you say about Ron Acuna? Oh, that's different. All I'm saying
there are some things that he does that I'm not a fan of. But I understand
Kevin,
it though.
I don't like the Trident, but I can deal with it.
Right? I mean, yeah. That's
and all I'm saying is this is them just. And once again, because we've seen the old model, you can always go back to the old model.
Well, as we've seen with trends, what is old will come back around again. But I do think for a lot of college football, especially in the South,
Yeah.
you get people who say, look, things change. I get it. I grew up in, I mean, there's still people like I said, I grew up in an SEC where you had Alabama, Auburn, Georgia Tech, Georgia, Clemson, or not Clemson, excuse me, Tennessee, Vanderbilt, Florida, Kentucky, and we could all drive around and we could be in each other's backyards. And, you know, we could be from Athens, Georgia to Tuscaloosa and, you know, handful of hours, and we could go get together and watch college football. And we could get after each other, and it's our neighborhood thing, right?
Yeah.
Well, now the neighborhood has added about 6 more sections.
Oh, they added some acreage.
They said, hey, we got this is building project number 2 and 3 and 4. And now you literally go from Texas. And again, I don't know if there's a team that SEC would want. Oregon, maybe. I don't know. And that far out.
I think the SEC is going as far out as they're going to go.
But you have stretched that footprint. And there are a lot of people who have said, while I like Oklahoma as a football program, I appreciate them, I don't necessarily feel like they're a part of this thing. Like they're a part of the SEC or they're a part of you get those close knit bonds. Like there's a lot of people who would say, look, I remember the Southwest Conference days where you had, you know, Arkansas and Oklahoma, and they're all right there on top of each other, playing each other, living in it, backyards, going at it, rivalries. And then you lose all that. And you lose some of the specialness of it. When you don't play teams in your conference, but twice every decade and a half, you lose some of that.
Yeah.
And that's what I think people say when they're like, you're ruining the sport for more cash. You're in a league, but I mean, do you feel if you're Georgia right now in football, do you feel anything towards Texas A&M about being an SEC team? You've played them one time.
Yeah.
One time. And I think that's the part people are saying is, look, we're bringing in Texas A&M so that we can play Ole Miss and Alabama and Auburn less. Why? Why are we doing that? That's what made college football wonderful. If we wanted it to be like the NFL, we'd have just done it the NFL way. And I think you're headed towards, people keep saying you're heading towards the NFL model. I think it's actually something a little different, which is why I think people are like, oh, this isn't going to kill college football if it continues. I think it will. I want to get to Ben first when we come back, and then I'll get to that. I mean, there's so much to get to on the show today in regards to college football. We'll hit that next. It's 3 and Out on the Southern Pigskin Radio Network. Good to have you back here, 3 and Out on this Friday. I'm Kevin Thomas. He is Ben Troop. Glad you are with us on ESPNCoastal.com and as well on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. I want to get to something in a minute, Ben, but I want to start with you because when we talk about college football and people say, well, why are they doing this? Well, one, it's money. And the fans will say, well, look, I'm a Penn State fan. Bringing in Southern Cal does nothing for me. It ruins the collegialness, the closeness, if you will, of college football. What say you, Ben, as a former player? Let's just, I know you told Christian earlier, hey, I got to play Auburn. I got to play, Georgia. Got to play South Carolina, Tennessee. Would you care if Oklahoma was in the conference? I mean, is that like a thing when you went to the SEC, we're like, man, I could go to Oklahoma. Or if let's say you went to, did you get recruited by a Big Ten school? I'm sure you did. But,
I did, yes.
Well, whoever it was, let's say you went there and you're like, oh,
Michigan's, Ohio State.
all of a sudden, Southern Cal and UCLA are coming in. I mean, did you get that at the time? I asked this because a lot of people, you've seen recruits, and people think recruits care as much about conferences as we do. And a lot of times they don't. A lot of times they're like, Georgia's in the SEC. I just went to Georgia because I liked it and they won.
Yeah.
And it's like, most people think, well, that's crazy. How could you not know? Well, most kids are on their phone chatting with their friends.
Yes.
That are in high school. They're not necessarily sun up to sundown watching college football. As a player, would you have cared what the conference looked like? I mean, did you care at that time?
No, because what happens is, Kevin, I got recruited by a big time school, but was blessed enough to be a big time recruit. And I didn't understand the fact that you're gonna get to do all these things. Yeah, I get to go to Baton Rouge, right? I'll get to go to Starksville, right? I got to go to, you get to go to Oxford, you get to go to Lexington, you get to go to Knoxville. But think about this. What if somebody say, hey man, now you get to go to Oklahoma, you get to go to Norman. What? Yeah, you get to go to Austin. Because now, bigger than you being in the SEC, now you're a part of those other traditions too. Because full transparency, when I was coming out, I used to live in Swainsboro, and then we moved to Augusta because my mom was going to Augusta State, which is now Augusta University. So that's how we ended up in Augusta. The first team to offer me was not Florida; it was North Carolina State. The very first offer I got from college was North Carolina State. I was supposed to go to North Carolina State on a visit. Never been on a plane before. Talk about exposure and what getting recruited does. At good old, Daniel Field, out there in Augusta, and flight left at 7:30. I got there around, about 7:15. And mind you, the people like, what? Yeah, I'm on the 7:30 flight. You see that plane out there? That's your plane right there. So I miss that stuff. I think it becomes more about I want to go to a certain school, right? When I was in the SEC, Texas A&M and Missouri was not. Now, guess who else didn't play with Texas A&M and Missouri? Tebow and those guys. They didn't play. So Urban Meyer, Johnny Manziel, those guys, they come after. I remember this. When Texas A&M first coming to the SEC, some brilliant individual sold a billboard of a Texas A&M billboard in Gainesville. Now you gonna sell it to whoever buying it.
Right.
But they was like, wait, you want me to put what up there? That didn't go too well. I will say, Kevin, though, it's exciting when you're a part of something new. It's exciting when you're a part of an expansion because, look, I played with Vince Young and those guys. I know how big Texas is. Now they're a part of SEC. I know how big of a brand Oklahoma is, right? When you in a state like Oklahoma that don't have a NFL team, that means those college teams dominate. Right? You don't think it's coincidental that the state of Alabama don't have an NFL team? It's the reason why the Carolina Panthers are called the Carolina Panthers, not the North Carolina Panthers or they want both states, even though they're in Charlotte.
They do have the Birmingham Stallions.
They do have
playing for that USFL Cup this weekend.
They did. and I think, Kevin, wasn't there another team in the AF?
The AF, it was the Birmingham Iron,
who had Mr. Richardson. I mean, the freaking big time running back that was at Alabama. No, I will say this. I get to say I was a part of a certain tradition. And Kevin, think about if you grew up in the old SEC. Man, I remember when it was Clemson and Georgia. Nothing stays the same.
No, Clemson was not. Georgia Tech was definitely in the
But when as a player, look, I want to be able to go to a school that's going to give me the most exposure that I know already has its own level of exposure. So think about this now. You know what that does for Texas and Oklahoma now? We in the SEC country? Yeah. Like, and think about it. Oklahoma has.
I'm saying, but most of your older fans are the ones that feel that. Instead of the kids, my point being, like, you had no clue about that.
This is my mom thing, though. My mom cares less about Texas, Oklahoma. She cares more about a Florida State and a Miami. Like, they going, what? And I said, Mama, I don't want that. Because what you start realizing, I said, Mama, listen, great companies, like, they find a way to work with each other. They look like, quote, enemies on the surface, right? But behind the scenes, oh, you don't think Kevin Warren, these guys? So yeah, as a former player, Kevin, yeah, because what it does is, Kevin, think about it. Kevin, you have sons. I have a son. I have daughters. If they go to a certain school, like just say they get recruited by a Big Ten school, and now I get to go to California because my school is taking me out there. Man, that's the thing that people don't get about athletics is it exposes you to so much stuff. Like, man, I ain't never played at USC. I ain't never played at UCLA. I ain't never played at Oklahoma. I ain't never played at Texas. Guess who else I never played in college? Alabama. And they weren't Alabama. They weren't Alabama back then like they are now. So, yes, Kevin, it's going to be different. SEC Media Days is already long as hell. Now you finna add 2 more teams, potentially 8 more teams. We're going to just be camping out. Like, yeah, man, we in Atlanta, man, for the next week and a half. Who we got tomorrow? I think tomorrow we got Clemson, and the day after that we got Florida State. But I will say, and I can say, being a guy from Georgia, I knew about the Florida-Georgia game. Like, I knew how big that was. I knew about Florida, Tennessee. I didn't know how big, like in the state of Florida, Miami and Florida State want to play Florida every year. Regardless, we the 3 biggest names we should play. I think now, Kevin, new rivalries, but I just, I got the experience, the hotty-toddy craze up there. I got listen, them cowbells. The best experience I've had is crazy in college as far as stadiums going to, nothing's like playing at LSU. Was freaking Arkansas. Man, I think they got 2 freaking stadiums,
right?
And they always say if you beat them at a stadium, they say, "Oh, we would have played you with us. They would have beat y'all." Well, okay. So I just think for me, yes, it wouldn't have mattered to me that much. At the end of the day, Kevin, I'm hoping to get that. I'm hoping that my fax machine work where I'm sending it to, or whatever fax machine I'm sending it to on National Signing Day, that it goes there, because I want to be one of 25. But hey. I think that's what makes it incredible, right? I think that, because Von Miller was not in the SEC when he got drafted. Myles Garrett was, and they both went to Texas A&M. So I just think that kind of stuff makes it intriguing. I don't think it takes away. I just think that it's like this, Kevin. If somebody says, "Hey, Kevin, look, I know you thought that your package being a college athlete meant you were going to stay in the South." Yeah, well, the South have been extended to Texas and Oklahoma. Who else we got? We got Oregon.
It's going a lot, yeah.
You get to go, and I think that's what I think I could appreciate the most is, because I say this all the time. There is no wrong choice when you go to college. Like, oh, he should have went. No. There is no wrong choice. 25 scholarships are given out by 130 schools, both P5 and G5. That is not a lot. When you talk about high school football, get your behind one of them scholarships and say. If somebody say, "Man, we only play Oregon State," slap them in the face with baby powder. No, you are one of them. So yes, if I'm coming in college now, and I'm saying who we get to play, Texas, Oklahoma, and Texas A&M, and Alabama, and LSU, and Auburn, and Florida, and hey man, sign me up. Because at the end of the day, I think it makes it so that the more teams you have, the more likelihood you're going to be able to play each other. Because that out of conference stuff, that might be obsolete. It's going to be hard to do that. But hey, listen, it's crazy. In the SEC East, I never lost to Georgia, I never lost to South Carolina, I never lost to Vanderbilt, and I never lost to Kentucky. I lost to Tennessee twice. I was 0-2 against Ole Miss. I was 1-1 against Mississippi State, and I was 3-1 against LSU. Oh, and I was 3-1 against Auburn. So, you know what I'm saying? I would have loved for Texas and Oklahoma to be in the SEC because you know who used to talk trash a lot? Vince Young used to say, "True, I don't think y'all got the brand at Florida. We got to Texas. What did we do? Boy, we went and won 2000 to 2008. And I didn't even know the fact that Texas only has not only, I'm sorry, they never had a quarterback win the Heisman. They had obviously Earl Campbell and Ricky Williams.
Right.
You bringing all that stuff, Kevin, you bringing out, and now you get to adopt all that stuff now. And I'm going to tell Vince Young, hey, man, if you don't like the SEC, what y'all coming over here for? You know what I'm saying?
You know why they're coming, the cash. We got more to come. It's 3 and Out all across the Southern Pigskin Radio Network. Good to have you along here. It is 3 and Out. Kevin Thomas and Ben Troop here on this Friday. Braves coming up a little bit. 5:25. Braves are in Cincinnati taking on the Reds. Didn't go so well when they opened with the Reds to start the season. We'll see if the Braves can get back to their winning ways after getting shellacked. I mean, they did get shellacked yesterday by the Phillies, but that's okay. 3.5 games out behind the Mets to start July. Hey, they were 10.5 games out to start June. So a lot of ground was made up, but Ben, college football going through obviously pretty big change. USC, UCLA coming over. A lot of folks hope it stops there. The domino now is Notre Dame. Again, according to Dennis Dodd, Oregon and Washington have reached out, obviously. They're loyal to the Pac-12 till the phone rings. But the Big Ten apparently told Oregon and Washington they're not doing anything until they hear from Notre Dame. So Notre Dame's a linchpin, or this thing could get a whole lot bigger chasing the dollars. And people say, well, what do you lead to? I think you lead to, well, one, I think the P2, if it gets big enough, could break away from the NCAA and just do their own thing. And if you say, well, what does that mean? I mean, literally, Ben, do their own thing. And so you say, well, what would that entail? Well, there's 48 schools. If you go that high, if you do 24 apiece, 48 schools, every player's getting $2,000 a semester. Oh, we can do that. NCAA is not here to do it. We also just upped the scholarship limit to 95 a school. We could do it. NCAA, you see what I'm saying? We're going to play 13 games. We can do it. We don't need anybody. Will you still play the other schools? Yeah, we'll play them. Some, maybe. Not as much. We're going to play each other. Why? Because the TV contract is going to dictate, obviously, Ben, that you get more marquee games. So what do you get left with? People say it's an NFL system. I think the sport of college football would turn into a Major League Baseball system where you have teams with a whole lot of, now that you're not there anyway, but you have teams with a whole lot of money, or now organizations, franchises, if you want to call them, whatever that, schools, with a whole lot of money, and they're spending a whole lot of money. And then you'll have teams that are, at least in this case, trying to spend as much as they got to keep up, and it's going to be a losing proposition. That's where I think you end up with that kind of delineation in college football, where there just simply will be a large pile of money and then everybody else. So if you're not in one of those two conferences, potentially, you're still college football. You're just not going to be able to keep up. And I told somebody, I mean, you hear these payouts potentially with TV deals, $100 million a school. $100 million in revenue from various streams, TV, streaming, and other things. Ben, if you and I are going to go run a race, not run, but, get in a car, because neither you or I enjoy running.
Nope.
I give Ben $100,000. I say, Ben, go buy you a car, whatever it is you want, $100,000. And then somebody comes to me and said, now here's the rules, Kevin. I'm going to give you $30,000 and you go buy a car. Once y'all are done, we're going to have y'all run the same race. Now, can I beat Ben? Maybe, but it had got to go perfect.
Oh, yeah.
Right? I mean, it has got to go perfect. So I think that's where you're at in college football, where just the money is going to, you say, why would Southern Cal and UCLA go into the middle of the country? It makes no sense. Except that it makes $60 million worth of sense or more. As they said, the COVID revenue bin for the Pac-12, $20 million a school. You go, man, $20 million, that's pretty good. No, I'm not diminishing that. $20 million is good. But the SEC handed out close to 50. How are you going to compete with that, right? 50 school. Vanderbilt is getting over double the money you are.
Yep.
How are you ever going to compete with that? You're not going to. And you know the value that UCLA and USC bring to the Big Ten. So their potential payout revenue goes from 20 to 55 million. So some AD goes to a lot of their alumni and probably more importantly, their school president and says, hey, why are you doing this? Sir, I'm about to bring in $30 more million a year annually at minimum. See what now? Yeah, we were giving $20 million to work with. Now there's going to be $30 more million on top of that. In 1 year? Yep, 1 year. That's a lot of money. People say, are they really going to play golf at Rutgers? Yep. Are they really going to travel the softball team to Happy Valley for a Big Ten softball game? Yep.
I'm
Because
sorry, and
$50 million, you can cover some play
Kevin,
tickets.
And you listen, when you said what you said about if they break away from the NCAA and they want to be able to give like more money.
Well, I'm saying, but I'm not saying that. I just use that as an example because they can do it if they were to do it.
Just show people where the money really goes. UT athletic department generated $240 million in revenue. Now, and I'm thinking that's University of Texas.
Right.
36% went to coaches. 19% went to overhead. 6% went to scholarships. 6. So if you're talking about, so what happens is, Kevin, is like you just said, look, there was this model when college athletics first started. It was called amateurism. We're going to be able to get, it's like when they came up with amateurism, they had no clue about TV deals because I don't know how many TVs there were when they did this stuff. And what started happening is as the TV deals went up, the revenue goes up with it. And it's like people start saying, dude, there is no ceiling to this thing. Why? Now it's about programming, right? And product. And we got the best product. We control the programming because they're only showing, look, when somebody says, hey man, the Bugatti costs $2 million. My mom says, that's too much. No, because they wouldn't be selling it if people weren't buying them. So what Kevin's saying makes all the sense in the world. Why would USC do this? Because you know who really, USC, you know who was really, really helping me? A guy by the name of Lincoln Riley said, dude, look, I don't know how y'all do out here on the West Coast, but the part of the country that I was in, bruh, they make money. Why? Because college football is that thing. Bigger cities. Why is the Syracuse football really known like that? Because they're in New York, upstate New York, not even New York. Right?
Yeah.
Why isn't Penn State really like it? Because they got, I don't know, the Steelers. Why isn't USC and UCLA? Because you got, I don't know, the Lakers, the Dodgers, the Angels, the Clippers, the Rams, the Chargers. You got a lot. People go, yeah, but Florida has the Jaguars. Florida has the Bucks. Florida has the Dolphins. They aren't bigger than Florida State and Miami. And you notice there's a counter team to every team they got. The Jacksonville Jaguars are just 45 minutes down the road from Florida. They can't compete with them. Florida State is on the panhandle. Yep. The two most famous people in the state of Florida, well, the three most famous people are Billy Napier, Tom Brady, and Anthony Richardson. But you didn't say the head coach, you didn't say Doug Peterson. He's not more famous than Billy Napier. You didn't say, you didn't say Todd Bowles. He's not more famous than Billy Napier. I don't even know Mike Daniels. Hell, no one even know him down there in Miami. So I just think that, Kevin, you are right. Look, ladies and gentlemen, this comes down to the chips.
Yeah,
and whoever can give me the most money. And guess what? They give me the most. Before you say anything, how much y'all giving us? Hey, Kevin, yeah, we giving y'all $50 million to do what? Just to be a part of this thing.
For what you bring to the table. No, look, and again, that's the part that I think people hate about college football is the expansion. And I think people love their regional rivalry. It's what the sport was built upon. But I think now with, as you said, TV, internet, streaming, conferences have their own channels now. What is the Southeastern Conference? It's whatever you want it to be. Essentially, right? What is the Big Ten? The Big Ten is now a brand name, right? Mm-hmm. It's just, the Big Ten is no different than Kellogg's.
Yep.
What is it? Well, Big Ten plays sports. Is there 10 of them? No. It's just, that's the name of it. The Big Ten. We go from sea to shining sea, playing sports. And I think that's just what it is. So the Big Ten network. And you talk about how much more money does California or Los Angeles, number 2 market in the country. And people say, well, what difference does that make? I know people are about cut the cord and this and that, but on cable dollars, adding a Big Ten market, it goes from like 10 cents a subscriber to like 60 cents. So 60 cents times however many million people have that thing.
And once again,
so that's more money every single month.
You remember
that thing?
Remember cell phones? When cell phones first came out, the plans cost a grip. Like the phones was cheap and the plans cost a lot. Now the plans don't cost as much. Them phones are expensive.
Right, yeah.
Look how they get you to pay for your phone. No. We don't want you to Give
We'll
us the
just
money all
add
at
it to
once.
the
Just add it to your bill. And guess what? Just when it starts going, mess it all up. Oh, hey, guess what? You paid it off. Let's start again. And people start saying, hey, man, I remember when those that went to gyms, remember when gyms was, $40 and $50 a month? They are dinosaurs. Now, $20 at the max. Why? Because what are we really providing for $60? You know who changed that? Telling you, the $10 clubs. So what happens is they go, no. If we got more people watching, we could charge less money because we still gonna end up with the money, right? It's almost like saying, hey man, if
I just look at it from a standpoint of it makes a lot of financial sense for them to do it. And so people are saying, why would so and so go in whatever conference? It's a money play, and I think that is what unfortunately you talk about when you kill costs. Because I hate the default answer is like, oh, you just hate that athletes are getting money. No, I don't think people. I maybe I'm naive, Ben. I truly don't feel like people. Some people are, but a lot of people are not upset at the fact that the athletes at this point get something. I think most people realize that, hey, from the time they were children to now, the game has changed, right? And when you're talking about schools moving for $50 million a year, okay, I think the student athletes probably can get a little something, right? I mean, so I think at the end, I think what people don't like is what they see as the ruining of the nostalgia and the sport for money, where you see things go by the wayside. Hey, the SEC is going to go to 16. Well, what if they go to 20? You may not be able to play third Saturday in October every year. You may not. I mean, if you go that big, Ben, depending on how you break it out, you may not be able to do Georgia and Florida every year. Now, that sounds like blasphemy.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds, but people probably thought that Penn State and Pitt would never quit playing. People probably thought that Notre Dame and Michigan would never stop playing. And I think they did, right? They put that on hiatus. People probably thought that Texas A&M, oh, you can't not play that game. Well, they did. For what? For money. So I think that's what people get upset about, in the weaning away, the lessening of traditions, the lessening of things that made the sport special in the name of money. And I tell you, again, I feel that a little bit. If it goes to a P2 and you've got 48 schools all doing their own thing, I mean, I'm sorry, there's no other way to look at it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the college sports you kind of fell in love with. It's not, especially on the football side. So I think that's more what people talk about when they're talking about, hey, it just feels different. We got to step aside. I'm way over. It's 3 and Out, Southern Pigskin, Way to Your Network. Good to have you along here, 3 and Out on this Friday. I am Kevin Thomas. He is Ben Troop. Glad you're making us a part of your day. Ben, the Braves ended the month. They couldn't set history. They only went 21-6 in the month of June. But let's see if they keep it rolling into the month of July. As we know, the All-Star break upcoming, coming off a great month. You got Cincinnati, again, a team you owe a little payback with, a team hitter-friendly ballpark. You're hitting the ball still fairly well, and see if you can't come out on top. Got the pressure squarely on the Mets. I mean, as you said, you look all over the place, and Met fans like, we're not scared. We're fine. We got Syndergaard. We got DeGrom. We got Scherzer coming back. We're going to be fine. I think what the Braves did in June, Ben, you just can't talk about enough, especially when it comes to if this thing is 2, if it is 1, come the All-Star break, you were up 10. That's it. That is a long ways away. And when you're talking about making up games, and if you can get this thing down to 1 at the All-Star break, that is a whole new ball game in that final 2.5 month push.
And Kevin, I know the Mets talking about who's back. You know who's back for them Braves? That would be Ronald Acuna Jr. He's back. And I think the thing you saw, Kevin, in June is great teams know how to turn it on. Great teams understand how to handle adversity. Great teams have seen it all, done it all. Even if certain guys, I mean, you had Ozzy for some of that run. Obviously, he's coming back. Rosario, he'll be back at some point. I mean, I just think that when you start talking about what this Braves team is capable of, they're very, very scary. I mean, I know that Kevin Love was Mr. Double-Double when he was with the Timberwolves, but you can say the same thing about Matt Olson. I mean, when you look at what he's doing, Travis d'Arnaud, we don't talk about him enough. Dansby Swanson is the best shortstop in baseball. You don't got to like it. The numbers back that up right now. And I'm sorry that Dansby, I didn't notice that you had that incredible head of hair on you. I apologize. I just sat there. I was sitting for about 20 minutes yesterday watching just this man's hair. People just going crazy. But Kevin, the one thing that this Braves team is built to do is not worry when bad things happen. We haven't talked about Mike Soroka all year, meaning you hope to get him back. Now, I'm not saying you're not, but Max Fried and, Ian Anderson's kind of taking a step back just slightly, but the starting pitching has been incredible. The bullpen has been incredible. I know Jansen is dealing with, accelerated heartbeat, and we hope that he comes back. I'm pretty sure that's something he dealt with probably his whole life, but I just think, Kevin, with so many guys that can hurt you every single night, Ronald Acuna Jr. still trying to get back into form. I think didn't he get voted? Was he the top vote getter in the National League for the All-Star?
He was, yeah. He's an automatic starter, yeah.
So his star just continues to rise. But yes, Kevin, you said it. You said the month of June is going to be pivotal. But the story of the Braves in this stretch is not Dansby, it's not Acuna, it's not Ozzy, it's not Rosario. It is one Michael Harris. Ladies and gentlemen, he is bona fide. And like I said, he don't ask him how he got to the bigs, and he did not go the regular route. AAA don't know nothing about it. What about AA? Nope. Just got called up. Time to get right. And Kevin, listen, I hate to compare him to the two, but there was that one Calvin Johnson that had a catch radius that was about as wide as it can get. Well, if you hit anything near Michael, anything, I mean, his anticipation is incredible. There are some, I said, that's got to drop in for a single. No, he's slapping balls in his glove, all kinds of stuff. So Michael Harris, keep doing what you're doing, even with your bat. I just think, Kevin, now this Braves team understanding, hey, man, playtime is over. We got to make sure that we handle our business from here on out. And the Mets know no lead is safe in the NL East when the Braves chasing your behind.
Absolutely. And again, I feel like this team, I mean, Dansby's in a little bit of a slump now. Maybe he's going through one of those cold stretches, but this team as a whole has played really, really well for a whole month. And that's hard to do sometimes. I mean, the Yankees have obviously been doing it, but 21-6, that is incredible baseball. Some nights it's just not your night. Last night it was not your night, right? And now you get to bounce back and try to come back and start a new month, a fresh month, and a chance to, again, really put the pressure on the Mets to come out and show and prove every single night. Because, again, I think the biggest moment, obviously, Ben, would be when the Braves pass the Mets, how do the Mets respond to that? Because, again, it's one thing. You're up 10.5. There's a lot of people declaring it's over.
Yeah.
I think there's a certain news guy, radio guy in New York that's saying it's over. 10 and a half games, it's over.
I know a couple of radio guys up in New York saying, and when people say things like, oh, it's the Braves, what does that mean? Oh, the Braves gonna do Braves things like win World Series? Cause Mets, y'all don't want to do this, man. Mike Piazza and them, they ain't running out of it. Come on, bro. And look, when you talk about the Braves as if to say they aren't the class of the NL East, well, then who is? If the Braves aren't the class of the NL East, then who is? I mean, you could have said the Nats when they won the World Series, but Strasburg, this is the year he's not supposed to pitch. He only pitched I've never seen a pitcher utilized like that. No, this is the year, sit him down. What? We ain't going to playoffs, sit him down. So if the Mets enthusiasts, Mets fans, Mets analysts, if you saying, oh, it's the Braves, that's right. You know, I mean, listen. The Braves know what's at stake. The Braves didn't have to go out there and spend a lot of money to get Scherzer. And Scherzer and DeGrom, that's best in the bigs. I ain't taking nothing away from them. But they got to prove it, man. You know, only thing the Mets got the Subway Series. It ain't been much of a series. If you ask me, we talking about them and the Yankees. We don't even talk about the Yankees right now. The evil empire is doing what evil empires do because Aaron Judge, good God. I mean, Kevin, you think he got a shot to break the record for most homers in the season? I mean, he was he at 30? I think he's at 30 right now. Jesus, but I ain't giving no praise to them Yankees, even though I do like Aaron Judge, bad man. But yes, Kevin, the Mets fans, I know them analysts, I don't really hear them as much. At first, they act. I mean, I'm like, dude, how they get on my feed now? I said, you can't block me, bro. I wasn't even following you. But them Braves, they coming. And the last thing you want to do is let old Ronald Acuna Jr. get hot. Because if he gets hot, you think they playing well now. I think they feed off him in a different type way.
And he is back in the lineup tonight. And I think that's the thing. Dansby struggling a little bit and some others. If Acuna gets hot, he could really carry this team for a couple of weeks leading into the All-Star break. No question about it at the end of the day. So full weekend, Braves and Reds tomorrow afternoon. Braves and Reds coming up on Sunday afternoon as well. Of course, 4th of July been this week. We haven't even talked about that. You know, you drop some stuff on a Thursday before 4th of July, like, hey, we're getting out of the Pac-12, and people kind of forget it's 4th of July this weekend. There's hot dogs to be eaten.
It is.
I think Joey Chestnut's got the over-under on his dogs at like 75 and a half.
That is ridiculous.
That's so gross.
You
I
don't
was
eat
like,
75 hot dogs in a year.
Look, and I know you have to do it for the contest, but if I paid you to eat one hot dog with the bread dipped in the water,
Nope.
Not going to do it? Can't eat the soggy bread?
I mean,
Does that make you want to?
Kevin, is there anything worse?
So I just say soggy bread.
Is there anything worse than wet bread? Like wet, soggy water. I'm not talking about it's been sitting in some gravy and the gravy that kind of made it a little bit soft. I got to take some.
It is pretty
water,
gross.
Dip it in take some water, dip some bread in it and go, ugh. Oh my, that is all. Go eat that bread. With the water? Yeah, dip it in it.
I guess it helps it go down if you're trying to clear it down your butt.
But at the same time, listen.
Can you imagine how dry your mouth would be if you had to eat 75 actual buns that weren't soggy? You'd be
No. The crazy part about it is the person that come in second ate about 59, 60, and they lost. Like
that's what I'm saying. Like if you're Joey Chestnut at this point, do you just pound 60 and just start like one at a time, looking at people like this ain't no big deal?
I mean,
you can't catch me. It's like you're so far ahead, you turn around and run backwards across the finish line.
Look, hey, shout out to Coney Island. I know what's going down, man. I mean, the announcer is the guy. I mean, to come up with all that stuff he do, all the way from he once ate, 285 crawfish in like 10 minutes or something crazy. Hey, you're not gonna beat Mr. Chestnut. He is a legend. Kobayashi, whatever. He don't even get in it no more. He was the man till Mr. Chestnut came. But hey, man, it's going down, Kevin. I mean, I eat hot dogs a little bit during the year. If somebody say, hey, man, you got to eat 40 hot dogs. Ain't no way, man. 40? 50? Your stomach going to be tore up. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Well, it's what can I say? I am not going to eat 59 hot dogs over the course of the 4th of July weekend, but Joey Chestnut, more power to you. We're going to take a quick break. We'll come back. We'll get you ready for Braves baseball and the 4th of July weekend. It's 3 and Out on the Southern Pigskin Radio Network. Great to be here with you on this Friday. Hope you're having a great one. Appreciate you hanging with us here on the Southern Pigskin Radio Network on ESPNcoastal.com. You can get us audio streaming as well as the ESPN app. You can check us out there on your phone or Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. And if you miss any portion of the show, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, you can also go to our YouTube channel, ESPN Coastal. There on YouTube, and you can catch any part of the show that you may have missed. So all kinds of ways for you to keep up with us here on 3 and Out as we head into the 4th of July weekend. We got Braves baseball all weekend long. Ben and I will be back on Tuesday, which by then, Notre Dame might be in the Big Ten. Like, who knows at this point what college athletics could look like? But Ben, if I ever see breaking news, Notre Dame announces, I think my heart might stop for a minute and say, what's about to happen to that college football world? But I right now, there is nobody making sure his cell phone is charged up like Jim Phillips, commissioner of the ACC. And he is probably, Jack Schwarber said, hey, Jim, my phone's, no, it's not. Just talk to me a minute. Just talk to me a minute. Not letting him hang on the phone. You just stay on the phone with me. Don't take any more calls. It's like Jerry Maguire.
Yes.
And Jim Phillips is Rod. I'm not letting you hang up this phone. You're going to talk to me until that phone line is clean.
Let's do it.
You're not taking any calls from anybody else.
Listen. I mean, he need to call Adam Schefter and just ask him, hey, man, how do you do it? He walks around with 3-4 phones, making sure he got to break the news. But hey, Kevin, at the end of the day, that's what makes college football so exciting. It moves the needle in college athletics. It's the one that makes everything go, taking nothing away from basketball, baseball, softball, track, gym, and so on. And now it's an exciting time because now it's gonna be new. It's gonna be new programs and new conferences. Who gets added to a new conference and who doesn't get a call? Because now it's like
there's gonna be a lot that don't.
Musical chairs, right? Some people are asked, hey man, yeah. When it comes to musical chairs, are you actually supposed to be out there? Yeah, you got to be out there to be in the thing. If you're just watching.
Some of them are. Some of them no. You don't even have a chair to start with, much less one to get taken away.
It's almost like if a said school running in because they late and then they get there to the good door, they go whoa, where you going? Got musical chairs.
No, the game's already started.
I don't see you on the list. Not in the house. I'm supposed to be on this list. Listen, bruh. And I was like, is that him? Yeah, send him out. Don't even let him watch because it's gonna be painful to watch. Because they're gonna go out there and go, wait a minute, how he get a chair? Hey. Shh.
Sorry, TCU.
Oh my God, it's gonna be. Listen, I'm sorry. Big 12. It was nice knowing y'all.
Yeah. It might still exist. It just whatever's left.
I'm just saying. I mean, they're gonna be trying to holler at everybody, man, trying to get somebody put up in there. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying. I mean,
UTSA, come on down.
Yeah, I said, listen.
Well, they should just. I mean, at this point, if they were to they just rebrand themselves the Texas Conference and just invite everybody in Texas. If you play in Texas, you're in.
SMU, Houston, hey, y'all come
UT
through.
San Antonio,
come on. What I'm saying? UT El Paso.
yeah.
Y'all just come through and come holler at us. Wow. Hey man, what about, hey man, you want me to go holler at Oklahoma? Nah. No. They got a fence. Well, they got a gate with a freaking security guard at the front that say, hey bro, turn around. No, turn around. You're not gonna go in the gate and come out.
Yeah.
Hey, but Kevin, once again, the powers that be decide who you are sometimes. Sometimes validation comes through other people. You can think what you. It's good to think highly of yourself, but if you keep looking at your phone like, did we be on phone? Yeah, it ain't.
I think it's very interesting because if you're not in the Big Ten or the SEC right now, I don't know if you have any friends. Right? Oregon and Washington are like, oh, you good? You good? Yeah, we're gonna go together, right? Hey, excuse me, Oregon. Washington wants to come. No, we didn't talk to them. Okay, well, I mean, we'll still come. Sorry, Washington. I mean.
Yeah, but
hey man, we tried. We did all we could do.
Dan Lanning is stop talking to them. What? Yeah. Y'all are not a package deal.
Yeah.
Huh? Yeah. Yeah. But UCLA and USC, they're in the same.
That's
city.
when you turn around and you say, Washington, man.
I mean,
we tried,
but guess what?
We're going that way.
SEC called North Carolina. NC State and Duke gonna say, hey, North Carolina, Mac Brown gonna say, who is it? Hey,
yeah, new phone. Who's this?
Hey, Coach, man, it's us. You gonna hand him out? Hey, Kevin. Now, like I said, once again, okay. You're gonna realize just how big your brand is, or not so much as what you thought.
And I'm interested to see who the teams on the potential. If there is a Big 2, I think you could have a Big 3, but that will require probably the ACC eating the Big 12, or the Big 12 eating the Pac-12, and then the ACC is just going to get annihilated. I think you could. I think you could have a Big 3. If you do 20, 20, and 20, that's 60 teams. That's not bad when it comes to formatting some other stuff. But I'm interested to see, again, the most interesting thing is going to be what happens when the music stops
Mm.
and a team you thought, really? They're the ones on the outside with no. That to me is when you start looking at it and say, college football is going to change things in a big way. Because you could potentially looking at a program right now, it's in a Power 5 conference. 10 years from now might not be any different than Boise State. If you get left out from the money train that's rolling along. Appreciate you being with us here on this Friday. Braves and Reds coming your way next. We will see you on Tuesday. Enjoy the 4th of July. Have a safe weekend. Stay away from those fireworks. Let other people do it. And we will see you. We will see. I could have made a bad joke. Braves and Reds up next. See you Tuesday.